Giuliani, and welcome to America's Mayor Live. Where did they all come from? I can't even see. Like, all these people. I thought it was still daytime. I've been sitting here getting the sun for 5 hours since my radio show. So I just realized we have a show coming on, and these people are cheering and yelling. And oh, man, see this that happens when you get close to Mar-a-Lago. They get that kind of breeze, and we keep all of the weird people away. The weird people are people who support Joe Biden. No, I don't want to say that because I don't want to be like them. I don't want to say that people who support Joe Biden are weird. A lot of normal people support Joe Biden. That's true. They're brainwashed, and we pray for them. But the reality is, there's nothing bad about them. They're just taken advantage of by a bunch of communists. And the communists have been working at that since 1850, taking advantage of us. And it is coming to fruition because we have, well, I think maybe the main thing they're taking advantage at the power level of our society is our greed, even more than our lack of love of country and patriotism, or even our ideology. I just don't think that many people in America are truly communists. I don't even know if I think a lot of them are too stupid to even know what communism is. But I think it's the greed. They see that China has a great market. It's the second strongest economy of the world. They assume it's going to be the first. Could be a very, very bad assumption, but they do. They look at the it's down to 3.3 billion people. It used to be 3.7, 3.6. And they see that market. So you look at, why does the NBA suck up to the red Chinese communists? Why? Because they see in America a limited market of 300 to 400 million people. And they see in red China an unlimited market of 1.3 billion people. And they say to themselves, we can sell a lot more tickets. We can sell a lot more televisions. We can sell a lot more shoes and whatever stupid damn things they sell. They'll probably eventually be selling cannabis and other drugs that all their players use. So they see a much bigger market, and their greed takes over. Now, this shocked me once. Oh, gosh, I think it was about 20, I'm going to say 13, 14. And I was talking to, I'll eventually reveal them as I feel I get angrier and angrier. But right now I'm going to preserve his identity. This very, very wealthy businessman, wealthy meaning in the $1 billion range, who does hundreds of millions of dollars worth of business in the United States and billions of dollars worth of business in China, basically said, with all the regulatory burdens, this was during the Obama administration, with all the regulatory burdens placed on me by the United States, literally, if I wasn't like a loyal American, I would just stop doing business in the U.S. and just do business in China. I make, 4 times as much in China. I don't have any regulatory burdens. I can pay off anybody that gets in my way. This was before Biden was president. Now you can pay off anybody, or New York City. And he's sort of telling me the practical value of China. Now, smart guy, educated guy, you would think he would know that China's not doing this for nothing. China's not doing this to make him rich. China's doing this because he's a little piece, even though a rich little piece, of taking over the world, which comes out of their Marxist philosophy, which goes almost directly from Marx to Engels through Russia to Mao. And it is a much more devout, pure communist agenda than even Russia. So that's what they're after. And we have to look at all of the disputes we are in the world with 2 countries in mind, maybe 2.5. China, number 1 for sure. Iran, number 2, because they're a bigger troublemaker and more irresponsible. And Russia, number 3, because At the wrong time and in the wrong place, they could do something very irresponsible, or they could be provoked to do something responsible. The rest of them are all pawns, um, like decoys. All that bombing we're doing of Houthis and uh, uh, Hamas and Hezbollah, it's all decoys for Iran, and to much a lesser extent China. And they're just watching us waste our resources, use up our alliances, double cross our people, and they try to figure out also who's corrupt among us. Now, they scored a big prize with Joe Biden. They got a guy that they invested bare minimum $31 million in, who took it from them. And as far as I'm concerned, it does every important thing they want, including things that would be impossible to do had you not been bribed. No American president would have given up the Bagram Air Base except having been bribed. No American president would let them off the hook for COVID and not sought to penalize them, recover a tremendous amount of money, and make it impossible for them to do it again. No American president would allow them to keep expanding in the South China Sea without challenging them. So we could go on, but they are owned and operated by China, this administration. And we know about Biden, and we know about the amount of money that he gets, but then we wonder, what about Stinkin' Blinken and the other group of traitors that he has around him? Because remember, Biden doesn't make the decisions. So when we say, oh, that was a really stupid decision of Biden's, then we after that, we say, oh, Biden doesn't make the decision. Now, don't we have an open question? Who makes the decisions? If Biden's not making them because he's too out of it or has always been too stupid to make them, then who's making them? And who's calling, as they say, the shots? So we'll discuss that a bit. Right now, what I'm really concerned about is I believe the Bibi Biden war has broken out big time. And it's more than you think of it. The left likes to think of it as Biden against Bibi. Bibi's so bad. Bibi's a right-wing, whatever they like to call us, Nazi, or I don't know how you can call a Jewish person Nazi, who survived the Holocaust, but that you can do anything you want if you're a liar, right? So, but you've got to go deep. You got to go just a teeny bit deeper, which is where the left, constantly stops so they can engage in propaganda, not truth. Here's the truth. A good portion of Israel, there's not a majority, but a good portion of Israel is more right than Bibi, meaning Bibi wants to end the war. He wants to defeat Hamas. He promised to do it, and I think he feels correctly that his country is not safe unless they eliminate the people who are dedicated to destroying them. Now, that makes it. Just get yourself out of all this garbage and you exercise something called common sense, and that makes sense, right? Here, let's say that New York and New Jersey developed very differently, and all the people in New Jersey were brought up from the age of 2 to kill everybody in New York. That's what you go to school, and the UN has supplied you with books telling you kill all Jews and you kill everybody in New York. And that's the mission of your life. You can't do anything greater, better. Your parents will never love you more than if you, only if you torture one of those people from New York. Well, we sure as heck in New York would try to wipe you out before you wiped us out, right? To save our children, if not ourselves. That's all they're doing. That's what they're doing. Hamas has, for a number of years, been dedicated to the destruction of the state of Israel, the destruction of the Jewish people, and then a little asterisk, the destruction of the big Satan. That's you and me and our children. And we have a president that wants to have a Palestinian state, a state built on killing our own people. In other words, we're going to help create a state that wants to kill us. Is there something wrong with that picture? What is it? Is it treason? Is it insanity? Mass stupidity? I don't know, but it's happening right now. because the debate here is not with Bibi. 75% plus of the Israeli people want to end the war with Hamas. And unlike the feckless Biden administration and all of the silly military people they have around them who look like they were trained not at West Point, but in Miss Manners etiquette school, it seems to me that they don't have a plan. We, in fact, for many years now, we enter lots of wars without a plan. It's been a general criticism of America. It's probably led to some of our more embarrassing moments, and we sure as hell don't have a plan. Bibi sure as hell does have a plan. Day one, a plan. He's sticking to it. This is why he was a great military man. We are going to wipe out Hamas. War ends when Hamas is over, because I can't secure the safety of my people if Hamas exists. So now let's take a look at the map, just so we know where we are. He is basically driven in a short period of time. He is basically driven Gaza, occupied by an enemy or people that are not in control of, right, basically down to here. This is all of Gaza, from up there to down here. Okay, he split it right immediately right here. This was the heaviest part right up here. Gaza City, took it, controlled it, wiped it out, got rid of all the tunnels, got rid of all the people, drove a lot of people south. They ended up in two places, Khan Yunis, where the fighting is just about ending right now. And this is the one they're talking about now, Rafah. So you could say, for all intents and purpose, basically all of this, from up there to down here of Gaza, is under the control of the Israelis. You see where it says Khan Yunis? Right there where it says Khan Yunis. Basically all controlled by Israel. Down in here is Rafah. Rafah is the border town. It used to be the border with Egypt. There is no border with Egypt because Egyptians don't allow Palestinians in Israel. Now, one wonders, why do we want to bring them into the United States? That silly person, what was her name? She was running for president. She got her head kicked in. I've forgotten her name. Namorata. What's her name? Namorata, somebody? Well, she thought about half the people from Palestine could come to the U.S.
Oh, Nimrata.
Yeah, Namorata wanted half the people from Palestine to come to the U.S. So the reality is, they're all huddled here. Egypt is building, and let me see if there it is. Egypt is building this right here. See this? But they call it a wall. It's not a wall, it's a compound. When you get past there's a wall between Israel and Egypt. You'll be allowed to get past the first wall. Nice, right? That's pretty generous. But then you can't get past 2 miles away the second wall. All can be kept there. All 600,000 of you. And when it becomes more than 600,000, you get kicked out. That's the way to control immigration into a country when you don't want people. The Palestinians are not wanted by the other Arabs, which is why they want to force them on Israel. The same situation exists if we go up north, we go to the Jordanian border. The Jordanians will not allow a single Palestinian refugee in Jordan. The king of Jordan would have them killed on sight. You say, well, is it because he doesn't like his wife, who's half Palestinian, or he's a nasty guy? No, maybe it's because they killed his grandfather and he knows they want to kill him. Might be a good reason to keep him out. Oh, and why does Egypt not want them? Because Sisi just doesn't like Palestinians? No, because the Palestinians are the allies of the Muslim Brotherhood, who are the people that overthrew the prior government in Egypt that Sisi was a part of, and are a constant threat any day to overthrow Sisi's government. So why would he want these traitors in his country? Let Israel have to deal with them. Let the United States have to deal with them, because particularly the United States is too unrealistic to deal with them. But Bibi isn't. So I don't know what further confrontations they're going to have, but Bibi is not ending this war until the Israelis get here. and control this and don't have to depend on anybody to defend their borders because they're not going to have another attack like the one they had in October. How can you fight with that if they're your allies? Isn't that what we would do? Maybe we're a little less able to analyze our way to that because we're warped by the traitor and nitwit that we have in the White House, who could never get himself to think that far ahead for his own country. So that's all going to get resolved. Ramadan began. I want you to remember about Ramadan. Biden was using Ramadan as we have to get things. He doesn't talk that fast or articulate. Let me try it. We have to get things worked out in time for Ramadan because it isn't. We can't have warfare during Ramadan. It's a religious holiday. Joe, do you know how many times the Islamics have made war on Ramadan? Going back about 1,400 years. Oh yeah, they probably kill more Jews on Ramadan than any period of time. That's when they love to attack during their holiday, and then they tell you not to attack. See, it's a nice way if you're stupid like you to take advantage of it. So they're trying to shame Israel into not attacking during Ramadan. Meanwhile, they have a Ramadan operation that has been completely exposed by the Israelis. They call it Operation Ramadan, and they are going to, in the thousands and thousands and thousands, march to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is in the center of Jerusalem. It's the most controversial place in Jerusalem, if not the holiest place in Jerusalem. It's the place of the original Jewish temple in which the religion really flourished and started. It's roughly the place where Jesus was both crucified and buried. And it's the place that 600 years after that, Muhammad claims to have been sleeping up near the top of what they call the Temple Mount. And the angel Gabriel came and visited him and said, Muhammad, you want to take a trip? Presumably not on a Boeing. And he took him on a trip, and they flew all the way to heaven. I'm just telling you the Quran. Don't look at me like that. And he met everybody, everybody you know, Adam, Eve, Solomon, Abraham. Abraham's the big guy. Abraham's like Joe Biden, the big guy. I shouldn't say that. That's wrong. But I mean, yeah, he's like the big. What's the Yiddish term? Mucker. Jesus is a lesser prophet, but a prophet nonetheless. Moses, a big guy also, but not as big as Abraham. And he comes back and he's really all excited. He's going to convert. He's going to convert. He could convert everybody on that Saudi Arabian desert. So he comes back to his little town of Medina, where he was a middle-class business family, and he starts trying to convert them. At first, having a little trouble with this Gabriel came and got him and took him to heaven story. And number two, it gets really weird when he falls on the ground and has a seizure in the middle of it. So they think he's possessed by the devil, and he's actually had epilepsy. And they decide he's a possessed demon, and his own people throw him out. And he goes, I forgot now if he goes to the Jewish or the Christian people next. They throw him out. And the third one throws him out. He goes to the desert, gets his army together, comes back, starts attacking, starts killing people, starts doing mass murder, and ends up taking over and spreading his religion by warfare. That's the religion. Okay, that's what we're dealing with. That's what Iran is trying to use as their model to take over that portion of the Middle East. And that's why not being aligned 100% with Israel on this is a horrible mistake for us, because if you want to say we're next, we're not just next. They've already attacked and killed us, haven't they? How many Muslims extremists have killed Americans? They almost killed me twice. Thank you, Iran. I appreciate it. And I remember Israelis never tried to kill me. That's why I like them a lot better. So I want to just give you just a teeny bit on the budget. So then we can talk to a really, really good friend of mine from America's, America's First Warehouse. Everybody does. Well, we're going to talk to him in just a few minutes because he's down here in Florida for all the celebrations that we're going to have. That'll happen today when in a short while Trump gets nominated, I believe. So let's take a short break, and we'll be right back.
The new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50%, and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Well, sitting next to me, show the box, my guy. I love him.
Yeah.
Joe,
thank you, honey.
Joe is here. Joe is here for the big celebration, among other things, with Scott Lebedo tomorrow night, right?
Correct. The Relentless Patriot movie.
And he's going to put his he's going to show his documentary at Mar-a-Lago.
Correct.
And Joe is one of the most important patriots of the last really since 9/11.
Wow.
You remember? Yeah, I'm sure you. If all I have to do is tell you this, and you'll remember Joe. He does the paintings on stage, like what? 5 minutes, Joe?
Well, he does it for through the God Bless America opera song by Danny Rodriguez, the 9/11
Right.
Colonel's Battalion,
Right.
when it first came about, and Scotty did it. But he came to the warehouse on one of the shows that you've done at the warehouse, Mr. Mayor. You had come in, and Scott had, during the break or at the end of the show, wanted to show you the respect and love that he has for you. And he had prepared a peel down, and you had no idea. I don't think anybody had any idea. Was that amazing or what? If Mr. Bedusa can show a picture of that, that would be a wonderful thing for Ted if he can pull that off.
You got that one, Ted, somewhere?
We'll get it.
Okay. This is basically he starts off with what looks like a bare canvas, and he paints this great patriotic scene of some kind, flags and eagles and things like that. And then all of a sudden, toward the end, he opens it up, and there's a beautiful painting of his subject,
Correct.
surrounded by the patriotic symbols. Now he's done this he's got this of Trump looking like Superman, and
Yes.
I mean, he's got all kinds of stuff, and he's got me looking
Correct.
like I don't know what, but looking great. Oh yeah, getting rid of the slang like Saint Michael the Archangel, not Gabriel, thank God.
Well, that's
I never
the
met with
9/11
him.
portrait that we have at the warehouse, Mr. Mayor, and that is you slaying the evil demons that attacked our country on 9/11, and the firemen and the policemen that rallied with you.
Oh.
It's such an amazing piece of work that Scott had done, and it was wasted in a corner. Now it's in the warehouse.
Before we forget, tell people how they get to the warehouse, because for I think a large number of people will watch this show. This would be like
Hundreds of thousands.
This is better than Disneyland.
It's the most, yeah, Disney's woke, and we are awake. www.theamericafirstwarehouse.com. It's one word, and you got to put WW in because they've been shadow banding us forever. And I bet you,
now I'm going to tell you, in a way, this is like nobody could possibly object to this. This is just loving America. There's no hidden message of hatred, or there's no any group. Every group is included. Every group is loved. Anybody who loves America is included in this. It's not races, religions. You got to be sick to get upset about this.
It's unfortunate. There are a few of the people that do get that way, but I'm going to tell you, Mr. Mayor, I want to give you hope and let you know that more and more people are coming into the America First movement. It's so obvious and so clear what they've done to us to go to buy eggs or to buy a car or buy whatever. Fuel for me was $2,000 a week. Now it's $4,000 or $5,000 a week. That was when Trump.
Oh, inflation.
It's only a little bit.
There's no inflation. I didn't make any inflation.
Well, it's the greatest economy of all. Mr. Mayor, what are you talking about?
There's stink what is it? Stag
He can hardly speak. He can hardly stand. It's an embarrassment to the American people. The America First Warehouse is not afraid to bring it up and talk about it and share it.
Yeah.
We love patriots like you coming through, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, I love coming. You know that I look forward to. I give 20th before.
Yes, you can get to us by www.theamericafirstwarehouse.com. The most patriotic venue in the country. We love having Rudy in. We got General Flynn coming in pretty soon too.
Oh, wow.
One night we had Tom Homan in while you were there as well.
Tom and I I love Tom, but
And his team.
we had a great session with him. And then even last time we did both times it seemed to me we did a lot of emphasis on illegal migrants.
It was three times.
And the damage. Well, no, the 2 times that we emphasized the illegal migrants that are coming in,
Yes.
which now has become much bigger. But at the time you were doing it, it was still, people were still trying to figure it out how bad it was.
There's one.
You were ahead of your time. Is what I'm
Thank you,
saying.
my friend. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. Now, Nassau County is not taking any of the immigrants. Bruce Brakeman is pretty tough.
Oh, I like that.
Bruce?
For a long time. I was very proud of Bruce. He basically said, stuff it.
Well, you know what else he's saying? He's
But
not
no,
going to put
thank
up with the transgender movement either in Nassau County. He won't let men play on women's sports. And Letitia James, Peekaboo, is going after him.
Isn't that the way you play sports, men against women? That's the way I was taught in Catholic school.
I never understood it. I understood
men should play against. Should have a 6'5" man against a 4'10" woman playing basketball. That'd be really fair.
Are there no men in the women's NBA, the women's basketball league?
Who knows?
Can't LeBron go over there and conquer the place or what?
Who knows? Who knows? You never know with these guys anymore, right? They come up to you and they tell you I'm a man.
So
that's interesting.
So how long have you had the America First Warehouse, and what was the inspiration behind that? Of course, you've had the mayor there a number of times. We've done a number of our shows there, Mayor. What kind of give us the inspiration to back up?
Parties there. I mean, it's just a fabulous.
Well, it's like many people. Tragedy will change a man's life. My brother's son was with me working in Baltimore, the terrible city of Baltimore, when he wanted to keep going out, and he went out and he came back and he never woke up from a fentanyl overdose. And I had to come back to New York. I had to tell my brother his son was going to live in Baltimore forever. And we cried and we didn't know what to do. And then one day, Donald Trump came down the escalator and he says, I will stop the fentanyl. I will close the border. I will stop that. So we jumped on it like crazy right away and started building up the movement for Donald Trump.
And I'm going to tell you this. He said that, and by his last year in office, I want to just give you numbers because, I mean, they lie about numbers. You can go look this up. 420,000 people came in illegally the last year Trump was president. This year, 3.2 million people came in under Biden. I want you to take, then that's what they call in quantum physics, and that's an order of magnitude different. In other words, it's not different numbers. We're in a different world. 400,000 as opposed to 3.2 million is a different world. 400,000 we can manage in a country this size. We shouldn't have it. We used to get upset when I was back in the Reagan administration at 100,000, 120,000.
Oh.
That was like dangerous.
Yes.
That many illegal.
I remember.
So at the very beginning, it took Trump a little while. He shot up to 800,000. Think of that. That was his highest, 800,000.
In what, a year?
In 1 year, 800,000 in a year. But by the time he gets to 2020, he organizes his effort against fentanyl. He gets home with the people at every point on the border. Mm-hmm. He goes down and he scares the living daylights out of Mexico. And he does this great stay in Mexico program, which accounts for 60% of it.
Mm-hmm.
He's down to 400,000.
Amazing.
It took Biden 2 months to move it from 400,000 to 1.8 million. then from 1.8 million to 2.8 million, then from 2.8 million to 3.1 million.
Well, Donald Trump said he was going to build the wall and he was going to let Mexico pay for it. And people always get a little confused. Mexico didn't pay for it. Yes, they did. They put 28,000 troops at the border.
Right.
They took everybody back on catch and release. They had to go to stay in Mexico, remain in Mexico. You got to be kidding me.
All you need, and we've had this at various times. I mean, Trump negotiated the best agreement we had, but many American presidents who were real presidents, not creatures like the one we have, negotiated a certain area in Mexico where we could operate and keep the people there.
Yeah.
In other words, they would cede some of their sovereignty to, they wouldn't tell anybody. They would cede some of their sovereignty to us, and our border patrol would operate in Mexico with the Mexicans, make sure they didn't come over.
Mm-hmm.
And they would, and look, they'd let the farm workers over, but they wouldn't let the criminals over.
Well,
Now we let the criminals over, but not the farm workers.
we need immigration. I don't think there's any question about that, but we need legal immigration. We want to let them to come through that big, beautiful door that we were going to build on the border for them to come in. Because we need to know, Laken Riley and her family, do you think they are upset about who came over the border? You better believe it. Her family is destroyed. And I'm sure that family is going to be activists like we are. And like the American people are waking up every day to this baloney.
Well, I mean, they were with the president this weekend, President Trump, the president, the man who pretends to be president. I mean, he is legally the president, so I got to be careful. He's legally the president. Morally, we got a different story. He doesn't say her name, doesn't say anything about her, pretends as if it doesn't exist. They were hoping the whole thing would get, just go away. And finally, Marjorie Taylor Greene outsmarts him, which Marjorie, you're a friend of mine. I love you. You're smart as hell. Outsmarting Joe Biden is
Right. Kind of big feet.
You get no credit for it, sweetie. No credit for that one. Making a jackass out of him is like, wow. Just think of this. He takes the stupid thing from her.
Yes.
I mean, like you take anything from her from your point, it has to be stupid. It was a beautiful thing for our point of view. From his point of view, it was dynamite. So he takes it. He can't even read it. He can't even read it. He says Lincoln Riley like a basketball coach.
Yeah.
A football coach. Instead of Laken Riley like the young woman who was raped and killed. Then to make it worse, he goes on television a day or two later with his little kind of little creature that goes around with him and follows him around and kisses his backside and cleans up after him and does all kinds of things. Capehart. And Capehart says, "Don't you want to apologize?" And I thought he was going to say for messing up the girl's name. And he says, "No, for calling him an ill."
Let's
Rapist, murderer.
You got to be kidding me. Let me see it. You got it?
Response to her heckling of you, you used the word illegal when talking about the man who allegedly killed Laken Riley.
An undocumented person. And I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. And look, when I spoke about the difference between Trump and me, one of the things I talked about on the border was that the way he talks about vermin, the way he talks about these people polluting the blood. I talked about what I'm not going to do, what I won't do. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country.
He'll just disrespect us. He'll just disrespect us is what he'll do.
New lesson in American history. Change all the textbooks. America was not built by the people we thought. It was built by rapists and murderers.
Good point.
The people who built it were people like Mr. Ibarra and his brother, members of the Trans-Aragua gang, who in a very short period of time that we know of has raped a 14-year-old and killed a 22-year-old. And we have to thank them for building America. What the hell is wrong with him? What's wrong with him? Whatever it is, he shouldn't be there, right? I mean, it's a tragedy for our country that we have a warped individual that running the country, and the Democrats are all defending it.
One of the biggest things that we do at the warehouse, Mr. Mayor, is that we realize that it's God. The country was based on and built on the foundation of God. Okay, I've mentioned many times. So what we do at the warehouse right now is that we always have on Thursday nights, we have a prayer group, prayer and healing every night. The church is Christ to conquer the nation. We're on a mission to take the country back. We'll be doing church on Sundays now. Through the America First Warehouse, we have the motor club going on. We got antique cars all over the place. We got motorcycles. We got a full studio, recording studio going on. We are so excited to put everything we have into the America First movement and to get Donald Trump reelected because we need this so bad, so bad.
Well, I got to ask you this because a lot of your people are connected to the FDNY, and I love the FDNY. But this weekend, graduation ceremony where the firefighters booed a politician that was brought there, who is really one of the most controversial politicians in America.
History.
She's someone who headhunted for Donald Trump, prosecuted him whether guilty or not, came up with a case that's complete fiction with a judge who makes up Mar-a-Lago is worth, what did he say? 12 million?
18
18
million.
million. I mean, it's worth like $1 billion.
Well, that makes your condo about 100 grand, I think. I'd like to offer give an offer for it.
Well, let's hear some of your friends, the FDNY. This was I guess late last week, or maybe over the weekend. Here we go.
Attorney General Letitia James.
Oh, come on. We're in a house of God. First, simmer down. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for getting it out of your system. I want to thank Commissioner Kavanaugh and Chief Hodgins for that recognition. And today we are making history, swearing in our first African-American woman chaplain of FDNY.
And back.
Well, I guess maybe the firefighters made their position known. Last time I checked, it was America, and they have a First Amendment right to do that, except in communist New York. Because
Yes,
New
that's
York
right,
is
yeah.
governed by communist, fascist rules, in which had they been saying Biden, 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 everybody would have been really, really happy. But my goodness, to say the name of the opponent. Ooh.
Well, Peekaboo James, that's the one that is really she ran on to destroy Trump. I mean, how did she even get elected? You know, I'm going to destroy Trump. That's what she tried to do, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, there's no reason that she was elected. I mean, there's no good reason that she was elected other than, again, we have a brainwashed city.
What about the
brainwashed
corruption
Democrat?
of her going back and forth to Washington, D.C. for meetings? I know that she's been in and out of the logbook. She had a couple of weeks there.
Yeah, her and
Just
that-
like your
her-
friends from Fulton County.
You know, like Loverboy from Fulton County.
Yeah.
I mean, they were arguing over why is it a direct conflict, not just the appearance of a conflict. The reason is that Fannie Willis selects a guy to run the case who knows nothing about putting together cases, knows nothing about trying cases, and knows nothing about the RICO statute that it's based on. So he must have a value for $1 million. His value is he's the political go-between with the White House. He's the one she can trust to go make the dirty deal with the White House to frame Trump so that they can slot it in as the fourth case of 4 in 1 year so that they prevent him from being president. That's what the guy's role was. That's what he was paid. He wasn't paid $1 million for knowing nothing about the law.
I thought he was just there for the sex.
That was you think he's that good?
Okay, he got $1 million for
I met him. He's not that good. No way. Guy's not worth $1 million for anything.
No, we know he's not. It's a bunch of garbage.
He questioned me, and if you're not stupid, you're going to make mistakes, even with sex.
Did he question you?
Oh, yeah. Wow. Questioned me for 5 hours, and during the 5 hours, it took everything I had not to be sarcastic, make fun of him, ask him if he would like to take my course on litigation, things like that.
Yeah, because you are the professor on that. Who's this guy?
You don't need a professor for this. This was like
childish.
Whoever gave him a law degree, he should ask for his money back. Because the guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He was hired for one purpose and one purpose alone. Well, two purposes. So that they could whack up the money so she could go off on her fat and happy vacations, of which she went on many. I mean, it's ridiculous. They went on more vacations than Biden. And meanwhile, they have other people really doing the work. And they're there just to guide it politically so that it comes down in 2024. So that Trump has to spend all his time in 2024 getting ready for cases and not running for president. That's the whole purpose of it. That's why you bring ridiculous cases like this. And they don't expect to have it upheld on appeal. I mean, I don't know if Jack Schmidt's ever had a case upheld on appeal. He wouldn't know what happened. If the Supreme Court said affirmed, he'd go, what is that? These cases are being brought just to get him convicted before November. And then if in January or February he gets completely exonerated, they say, tough luck.
Doesn't matter.
Supreme Court's crooked. Let's pack it.
I just can't get over it and how they just continually lie to our faces. And then the people that say, you got 91 indictments against them.
Right.
And then I say, you can indict a ham sandwich. What does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Just like George Santos. Now, he was kicked out too. Was he granted a trial? Was he ever given a trial?
No.
Maybe it's not a good example.
No. He's a good example. He's an American citizen. He's a good example. Whatever he did. He's an American citizen. He was entitled to a trial.
He lied about his mom, Mayor. Meanwhile, you got these Democrats like Ilhan Omar pledging allegiance to a foreign country. And we won't even bring that.
The gold was in Menendez's garage.
But we hold our own to these standards. Not the Democrats.
How long ago did Hunter Biden buy the revolver and write down that he wasn't a drug addict and walk around with that in violation of a federal statute that makes it a 10-year crime for a drug addict to have a loaded weapon? About 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Here's how hard it is to prove that. One piece of paper. It's on one piece of paper. His signature is right there. There's a date next to it. There are pictures before and after of him smoking crack in an automobile. Now, I want you to think about that. So the statute exists because it's dangerous for a person to smoke marijuana, smoke crack, take crack, and have a loaded weapon. What's it like for somebody doing that, having a loaded weapon and driving an automobile while they're doing this? That's what the first son or first criminal was doing and it took 5 years to hold him responsible for it.
He's
probably going to walk. He's probably going to walk out. He's going to probably walk out.
How could that happen? Has anybody seen The Laptop from Hell? Has anybody seen the book and turned pages and pages and pages every day? I turn a new page. I learn a little bit more. I don't want to see the sex stuff because that really irritates me. But it's unbelievable what this guy has done. The people that he's brought in, the lies that he's created, the money that he's generated for his family, the missing diamond. Come on.
Millions from China.
And boy, they tried everything they could to destroy little Donald Trump. You met with a Russian woman who wanted to go over the adoption between Ukraine kids and Russian kids. Or maybe that was a setup. I don't really know. They destroyed him for it. Hours and hours of testimony for that. And this guy is doing what he's doing. Turn to page 136 of the Hunter Biden Laptop from Hell. Turn to that page and you tell me what you see. Disgusting.
Want to tell us?
Yeah, what? I'm sure it's bad. On break, we're going to check that out.
The one that I keep reminding people of because they keep hiding it is the one in which Hunter Biden explains the whole thing to you, and there's no reason to act like we don't know what happened. He says that for 30 years I've been collecting all this money, and I pay for all the expenses of the family, and I still have to give my father 50%.
Yeah.
What does that make him? It makes him a classic American bag man for a corrupt politician. That's what he is. That's what they are. And they've gotten away with it because the country is corrupt right now.
Yeah.
And Trump's going to have to straighten it out.
He's going to too.
I mean, he's going to. So we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, I'm going to get myself alive again with the balance of nature. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Joe. The foundation delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. Sean is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Welcome back. You see, it's gotten dark here in beautiful Palm Beach. Directly over there, sort of over here more, is the Intercoastal. So this separates the island from the mainland. And then over there is the ocean. I'm pointing that away. And that away and back of me is Mar-a-Lago, where they're having the big party. They're probably having a party tonight to celebrate his win. Which state? Someone mentioned he won. Which state? Missouri and Georgia? Both?
Correct.
He's got to be one state away then, right?
Yeah, he could wrap it up tonight.
All right.
We're waiting
Let's
to see
hope.
if that's
Let's
what
hope.
happens.
Let's hope that he does. Here,
Great.
This is balance of nature. Now, you know balance of nature. Balance of nature is going to keep you energetic enough so you can fight the battles of 2024. You take 2 in the morning, 2 at night, 2 fruits, 2 vegetables. It's your daily requirement of fruits and vegetables. Have as many more as you want, but you'll make sure you get the ingredients that you need. Now, I'm not an expert on this, and we'll have Dr. Howard on to explain it. But basically, most of those supplements that you're getting are coming from fruits and vegetables. This condenses them all to make sure you have your bare minimum requirement plus. And people taking it swear by it, including me. I was going to do an experiment and not take it for about 3 days, and you could watch me sleep on the air. But that wouldn't be fun. Dr. Howard asked me to please remind you, please don't take 4 at a time like I do. But that, so we're going to see if we can have a couple of questions from the audience, and when we finish, we're going to just spend a moment telling you about the disaster. Well, it's not going to happen, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. The disaster of the budget. So who do we have? Are we on the left or right? Over there. Okay. Come. Put up the microphone here.
Bring it up. All right. So we're taking some questions. We had some live guests here tonight. It's the first time we bear with us. Our first time doing this. So bear with us here. So we have with us a good friend of the show. She comes and checks in every once in a while. Our good friend Ethel. Ethel.
Let's see if I have a good question.
Can I just say something on your behalf, Ethel? When you put Ethel up, the next thing you put up, frighten the living daylights out of me. You put up a picture of Letitia James. Did the people see that?
No.
So they see wonderful Ethel here, and they see Letitia James?
No.
What are you trying to frighten me?
Yeah.
You know, there are a few children who watch this show.
That's true.
Go ahead. Ethel, I should let you know, well, she can tell you anything she wants about herself. I'm just going to tell you she's a lawyer, and a good lawyer.
Yes.
Which has to be said now because most lawyers aren't. She's a good lawyer, an ethical lawyer, and a really fine lawyer.
Well, thank you. Coming from you, Mayor, that's about the highest praise I can get.
Thank you.
And I wanted to know what you know and what you think about this pier that is being built on the coast of Gaza and the American
Yeah, we should have had that.
that's headed over there with supplies. And how are we going to keep our people out of the fray?
it gives you a little of the, it gave me a little feeling of Vietnam, how we snuck into Vietnam. First of all, no boots on the ground. I wish he would stop that. That's such a cliche. No boots on the ground. First of all, what he's going to do, he's going to build a pier so that we can give humanitarian relief to the people who want to murder us. So we want to keep them alive because we're going to change them. Remember, this is no propaganda, absolute truth. Palestinians are taught from the day they go to school to kill Jews, to kill Israelis, and to kill the big Satan, the United States. It actually comes from a textbook sponsored by the UN Relief Agency that we pay for. We pay for a book written to encourage people to kill us. This is why you shouldn't vote for Democrats. So we cut off aid to them, to UNRWA. Trump did. Biden, of course, restored it immediately. Who knows what side he's on. And now he wants to set up a pier. He says on Israeli territory, but that would get you into Gaza. So then he's going to have to set it up a little north of the border of Gaza and through there and get the agreement of the Israeli government that he can unload supplies for the enemy. Now, I don't remember in the Battle of Britain, the Germans bringing the English supplies. I don't think Hitler was dropping off supplies for them. Or may I say, when we were bombing Berlin in order to end Hitler, I don't remember our bringing supplies in to keep the war going. The whole idea of the damn thing is to end the war. But in any event, I think that becomes just terrible. If it just remains that, it's pretty bad. I think what you're saying is that's going to grow into something. It's going to grow into Americans deciding Israel did something terrible and American troops might get involved. Or it's a terrible mistake. I have no idea why we feel the necessity to give humanitarian supplies to people who want to kill us. It's not very humanitarian to want to kill us. I don't have any doubt. Why wouldn't the Houthis just kind of throw a drone on them, right? Just to make things even more complicated. Kill 100 American soldiers who are on a humanitarian mission. I mean, it's just designed to escalate things and make things look like it's Israel's fault. My friend Sid Rosenberg, who does the morning show on WABC, Sid would be, I think, a little upset with me if I didn't point out to you the number one morning show in New York. Was at the State of the Union, and when Biden said that 30,000 Palestinians have been killed, he just yelled out, sitting in his seat, "Says who?" Because that's a Hamas number.
Yeah.
Now, there's no such thing as a Hamas number that's accurate. They threatened to arrest him and said if he didn't leave, he'd get arrested. Now, I don't see how that isn't an expression of your First Amendment right. You get thrown out of a State of the Union speech if you don't applaud for everything the president says. I mean, suppose I don't like what the president said and I boo him. I get thrown out.
Oh, look at the poor father of the
That's even
man
worse.
who lost the son at Abbeygate, and then he had another son who committed suicide at the park that they were going to name in honor of the son. And
all he did is mention his son's affiliation. Even I don't think he may have said the name. I'm not sure, but he said the Marine detachment he was with. He said Abbeygate, and then the Marine detachment, and they picked him up, and they really were pretty rough with him too, with the way they got him. I mean, the Capitol Police have a lot to answer for anyway. For January 6th, who knows how much of that they really created? And of course, there's still the murder of Ashley Babbitt that they've never solved. But sure.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Joins us in person, both here and in.
Thank you.
And she joins us in New York as well. Now I'll bring up another guest, another friend of the show. He's helped us out in numerous spots as well. You might recognize Stephen.
Hi, Stephen. Welcome to Palm Beach.
Thank you. And Mayor, you may not be aware of this, but during our time in DC, Stephen helped us, right, during that week we had to spend in DC in December.
Yes.
And his hair made a little bit of news that week.
Yes.
People were commenting on his hair on the press conference.
Oh yeah,
Right, Stephen?
people have been coming up to me, and actually for our caucuses, there was a whole bunch of national media in town. And
You want to buy your hair?
Yes.
what's that?
They want to buy your hair?
I haven't got offers, but I would be willing to sell it. If anyone wants.
I'll be his agent.
Give us a.
Work things
But
out.
yeah, no,
What do you got? What?
what's that?
So go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go
Well,
for it.
what questions do you have for the mayor?
Well, I want to be a little selfish and bring it back to Michigan. Everyone knows I'm a big Michigan guy, and I've been pretty involved.
You
with the
can't be
country.
selfish bringing it back to Michigan. I think Michigan is the state, one or two or three of these states this time.
That's
I think
important.
So far, it could change.
And I
right
think
now.
it will be one of the marquee Senate races,
Right.
and it will be very competitive. And I think that we could see a lot of money coming in hard and soft. But I was just curious as to what you're thinking about the recent Trump endorsements, various endorsements of Mike Rogers. You might have heard that happened yesterday.
Well, as you know, I have my own problems in New York with his endorsement of someone in New York who gave money to Letitia James, even knowing that she was going to headhunt for him. But this guy also gave money to the New York assemblyman who's responsible for the bail law in New York, which, if people don't know it, enough people I think do because it's gone national, is probably singularly most responsible for all the increased murder in New York.
And the people just getting released right off the bat, type of thing.
It probably played into the Lake and Riley murder because the guy who did that was released on bail in New York from really a sexual assault of a child. And we did two things with him. We released him on bail, and then we didn't turn him over to the immigration service, which is against the law, because we have a regulation in law that says it's like saying don't cooperate with the federal government.
Yeah.
Adams plays this game that's complete phony. He says, I have to get legislation to change that. He doesn't have to get legislation to change it. It's illegal. It's illegal. The city council in New York cannot override a federal law about immigration. Federal government preempts. Federal government's in charge of immigration. If the city is interfering, you can ignore the city. So Adams can say, silly.
Yeah.
Do you know, the statute of limitations is passed, so I'm more than happy to do this. People say, well, how did you clean up homelessness in New York? You had the right of shelter then and all this stuff that Adams is crying like a baby about every day. I said, we had a right to shelter?
Yeah. Well, and we want to bring one more person up. We got a college student.
So I said to myself, I read the Constitution. I know the amendments. I don't remember you have a right to shelter. Show it to me. These idiots never sued me in 8 years. They just did it. 8 years, never sued me.
Amen.
8
We
years.
should all read the Constitution.
Yeah.
More honest.
That's right.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Well done. We got one more guest this evening.
I like this format.
It's a good format. It's like rapid fire.
Yeah.
Give us your name when you come up because we got people coming and going here, and let us know your title. You're from Michigan as well, correct?
Yes, well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for this opportunity. I'm really happy to be here.
And we're not careful, get a Democrat that sneaks in.
What's his name?
No. I am from the Michigan Students for Trump chapter. We're gonna the youth vote. That's our goal right now. Give the youth vote to Trump.
Yes.
And you're inspired by the president with your dress, I see.
Yes, I am. I have that
Did you meet with him recently?
classic Trump ensemble. Yes, I was able to meet him last week. It was one of the highlights of my life.
Oh,
Were you dressed with this?
Yes, I was. This
I'm going to tell you, having helped him with his tie a few times,
well, thank you. I appreciate
very authentic. Very authentic. Well, go ahead. Maybe we'll get that sign for you.
Yeah, we'll get that sign. That would be great. That would be great. Yeah, there were some great questions asked, and I have more of a basic one as compared to these ones. But it's still something that many of the youth I know in Michigan are concerned about, and that is term limits. I know a lot of congressional people in Congress, they are above 60, 70, 80, and a lot of people who are interested in running, they can't run because these people have been there for so long. They have the establishment behind them. They can't move through. I wanted to see what you thought about term limits and what a good solution would be to get youth involved.
While you think of that answer, Mayor, I just have a question. How old are you?
I am 19,
You are 19. So you were born in
2004.
2004.
I actually have my birthday coming up on this Saturday.
What do you know about Mayor Giuliani? For example, I'd like to hear this from the youth, right? What do you know about Mayor Giuliani? And I don't want to put you on the spot because we're, live on the show here. But what do you know about the mayor and his time as mayor, right? That was the 90s. You weren't even born yet.
I know he's America's mayor. He was the mayor of New York in 1994, if I'm not mistaken, to 2001.
Wow.
We were there for the 9/11 attacks.
He's got Biden beat to the.
Can you imagine this?
He doesn't even know when he was vice president.
I know you also ran for president, the president in 2008 presidency.
I did.
And I also know you were going to run for Senate in 2000 in New York. And you were also Trump's lawyer and had done a great job with that. And just a good guy overall. And I'm just happy and delighted to be here today.
Well, thank you. That is terrific. And this is exactly what we need. Young. We're supposed to not have the young people, right? And you're 19 years old. You don't get much younger than that in terms of politics. I mean, you got to, except if you're a Democrat, you can vote at 2, 3, 4. The other thing that's interesting that maybe you guys that are younger can figure this out. I never could, and I'm probably never going to do it. Can never figure out how they got all the dead people to vote for them. How do the Democrats get all those dead people to come out of the cemetery at night? Now, I think they do some kind of hookup with Halloween because election day is always right near Halloween, and they make some kind of deal. I think Joe the Box we should put on this one.
Yeah, Joe.
I think Joe would get this one figured out. Go
behind me, Satan.
You got a lot of those cemeteries out there in Suffolk County. You go take a look. And most of those people in those cemeteries in Suffolk were Republicans because they used to always. So how is it when they come out of the grave, they always vote Democrat?
We have people voting in Michigan that are from the Civil War, that fought in the Civil War.
I know. I litigated Michigan, and I have to say, you were one of the Pennsylvania. If I had to order them, worst cheaters. Pennsylvania, number 1. Michigan, number 2.
Yeah.
Georgia, number 3. Number 3. 4. Because it was isolated to Maricopa. So I'll tell you, we had a real big debate last night, Joe. You'd have loved it with John about John's very upset that they're going to cheat again and doesn't believe that we can control it. And I tried to explain to him that I can't guarantee we're going to control it, but it can be easier this time. First of all, we don't have the massive COVID vote. We're not going to have like Pennsylvania went from 2016, I might be a little off, 250,000 absentee votes to 4 years later, 2 million. Counting 2 million votes just takes forever. And you can push people aside, you can hide people, you can bring in extra votes. We're going to have a more manageable group of votes, and we've been watching them more carefully right from the beginning. But simple answer is they are going to cheat again, and we need you to volunteer. See, you're watching this young man. You volunteer with the local Republican organization. Now that Trump's got control of it, was that good? Was that good that Rona moved on to greater and bigger things?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He took a big step going from the Michigan Republican Party chair going into the national party. I don't think she was ready for that jump. And the party, we've seen that with all these elections, 2018, 2020, 2022, and we're going to get people back in there that know how to run elections.
So
I love that.
Given the fact that we have to, I'm not gonna say they're gonna do it. I'm just gonna do what you should do when you are, planning for an offensive. Assume the worst. We assume the worst, and they do a certain level of cheating in Detroit, which is where they do the big cheating. How are we balanced for that in the rest of the state in Michigan?
We have a lot of people who are coming out of the woodwork that did not want to vote in 2020. The ones that came and gave Trump the victory in 2016. And we're seeing a lot of youth coming out as well. The colleges, a lot of people like to say, are so liberal. Well, there are a lot of people there who just do not want to share their political beliefs because they are afraid of what will happen, but they are conservative.
That's a heck of a thing you just said, that they're afraid. Yeah. Isn't that a heck of a thing, Joe? That this young man just said, that they're afraid in America to share their political views. I learned this the hard way I represented a young lady who went to high school, began high school in 2016 in Washington, D.C. And 4 weeks into high school, she was like a very, very talented girl. She was a talented actress. She had already gotten the biggest part in the play. A picture appeared like in a Washington Post magazine of her as a 13-year-old holding a Trump sign. I'll tell you the long and short of it. They shunned her for the next 4 years. She had to end up finishing at George Washington University because she couldn't go to school anymore.
Terrible.
Because of what they were doing to her. I represented her, but what they were doing to her. I can't even sexual comments. We're going to rip apart your private parts, all this stuff. And then one absolutely insane text that said, almost sympathetically, I really feel sorry you came here. Why did you think a Republican could go to school in the District of Columbia?
Oh my gosh.
Why did you think a Republican could go to school in the District of Columbia? And so when they say, District of Columbia juries are run, they're worse than any place else.
Oh, yeah. Terrible.
So now what do you see as the main, from your point of view, 18, 19, 18?
19, yeah.
19. What's this election about and how does it get, how do we win it?
Well, I think right now it's about the economy. We're seeing so many people who cannot afford groceries, that can't afford gas. I have friends who their bills have changed so much they might have to drop out of school. And I think it's getting the economy back on track. It's slowing down, it's reducing inflation. It's basically giving the power back to the people. I think that's the biggest thing. We have all these votes, all these politicians that are working on behalf of their wallets, and we need people like Donald Trump and like you were when you were mayor, working for the people.
I think that
That is such a great point, and maybe we'll have Brock on again sometime. We want to thank him here for joining us, and we have a lot more questions. So thank you, Brock. We'll take a short break. We'll come back and close out.
Okay,
We'll take a short break here.
how about you?
The new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Here she comes.
All right. And Mayor, we can call Georgia and Mississippi for the president. Those two primaries. Say, well, special guest tonight.
Right.
Do you want to
Where
say?
did you go, Grace?
Do you want to say anything?
What do you want to say, Grace?
Just tongue out, huh?
Why don't you say hello, everyone? You can say hello, everyone.
I got your tongue now.
What are you, a doggy?
I got your tongue now.
Are you Miss Doggy? Give Pop Up a kiss.
Papa get a kiss.
Pop Up, get one kiss.
Oh, the cap we're worried about. Give Pop Up a kiss first, then we'll get the cap. Kiss on the cheek.
Yeah, kiss on the cheek. Okay.
That was.
Oh, that meant, you know what that meant? It meant I did a good show. That meant I did a good show. And that's what it's about, your Grace, your little Grace, whether it's your daughter, your granddaughter. There she is. Come on. You want a little more? You got a little more to say here? Yeah, she's working on her next speech for tomorrow. So it's our job to leave a better America for them. And we're not. If we're being honest with ourselves right now, we're leaving a worse America. You look at this ridiculous budget he just put out. It's the highest budget ever, the biggest debt ever. How about biggest budget ever? 1% increase for defense of the United States of America. And China wants to clean our clock. 1%. You hear that, Grace? Just 1%. Just 1%, Grace. I know it'd make you into a drinker. It'd make you into a drinker, Red. Is that good? Grace, is that good? Is it good? Yeah. She always puts her cap on. Grace is very good at putting her cap on. Now she's going to shake it up, get a little more fizz. This is not an advertisement for fizz drinks. So we're going to let you know that right now Trump is within a hair's breadth of being the official nominee of the Republican Party. I predict that by the time we get to bed tonight, he will be. And by the time we get over to Mar-a-Lago tomorrow, he'll be celebrating. Tomorrow night at Mar-a-Lago is the Scott Lebedo celebration of his movie, of Scott's movie, which I can't tell. I mean, I've seen the early draft of it. Can't tell you enough about it. I mean, it's like just what we need right now. We need a lift in patriotism right now. We need somebody to tell us, don't be embarrassed of loving America. Don't let these creepy bums who make you feel like if you love America, you're stupid or there's something wrong with you, or they're the ones that are stupid and there's something wrong with them. You're going in the right direction when you feel those little tingles when you hear, the Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America or the stories about Pearl Harbor or September 11 or whatever. You're the right ones. There's no reason not to love a great country. This country's done a lot more good than harm. And no country has a balance like we have. Nobody's saying it hasn't done bad. Obviously, it's human. But you look at the balance, what do you think they're coming here for? What a contradiction with these lefty fools, huh? So tomorrow we'll be back. We'll see if Trump is over the top. I mean, he will be, but if he isn't, it's just a matter of time. We'll have a lot of information about the Scott Lebedo show and what's going on at Mar-a-Lago. And right now they're, taking time out to put together the blueprint of the campaign, which I don't know. Part of it is send cameras to follow Biden. That would be my advice. Just keep cameras on him all the time. Every day you'll get a great commercial. Well,
So
Grace, Grace, show everybody how you did that. Come here, Gracie. Put it right here. Do it right here. Get it right there.
Such big.
You like that, Grace? Yeah. You get it so you can get it the right way. Show them how you get it the right way. Can you say that?
You fake news.
Can you say that?
Fake news.
Can you say it?
Fake news. Fake news. Come on. You are fake news. Okay, you're fake. You're fake news. Fake news.
That's Uncle President.
You're being rude. You're
Oh, there you go. You're being rude. Stop being rude. Listen to Grace. Listen to Grace. She's right here.
Coach, you can see her.
Look, this kid's got no choice. Let's think about it. Grandmother, grandfather, father. Poor kid's going to be a performer. And she's good. She's going to have my job very quickly. And then you'll take care of Pop, right? She calls me Pop. Say, good night, Pop.
Very big. Too big. We gotta cut it.
She's a great kid, as they all are, right? Yeah. And we love them, and that's what it's about. That's what I just did it myself. What the heck? We're going to see him tomorrow. Well, thank you very much for listening in. Let's say a little prayer for the people of Israel. And let's say a prayer for the people of the United States. God bless America. See you tomorrow.
Right there.
fake news. Fake news. Come on. You are fake news. Okay. Fake news. You fake news.
Look at her right there. Look, Grace. To bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze,